and thank you for joining me today on Loyal World Info. Another day of the global spinning, another day of global news to digest. I offer a sane, rational voice for an insane, rational time. I will be your host, but first, let me share a little bit about me. I look forward to waking up to the international news like a child opening a Christmas present. I never know how I will act or activities I will do until after I unwrap my present. In the news case, what will I learn? What will it cause me to think about? What will I reflect back on? And what will I share with others? Stay with me and let's open presents together. Now, let's get into today's topics. And welcome to the topics of the day. Thank you again for joining me. Keep in mind, all of these things will be in timestamps below and also on YouTube. And if you subscribe on YouTube, I will, depending on how many subscribers I get by the end of May, I will donate that to a Vietnamese charity called the Blue Dragons Children's Charity, which helps keep children off the street. So keeping that in mind, and by the way, there's also more topics that will be posted on YouTube as well. I only cover the international stories on this podcast. All other stories will be on YouTube. So anyway, here we go. The topics of the day for April 5th, 2020. International. New Zealand new visa law. Superheroes mask up. Hotel evicts healthcare workers. Planes grounded. Movie theaters reopen. Deport or show mercy to. And sex doll arrest. Please stay with me and let's get into this. Moving on with my first article of the day. This comes from the New Zealand newspaper. And this article is COVID-19 coronavirus. New Zealand government to grant itself visa law powers for 12 months. And normally I do this kind of thing as a public service announcement for people overseas when there's new visa changes. But in this case, it's a little bit more than just that. The government is temporarily amending immigration law to make it more flexible and responsive to changes posed by COVID-19. It will introduce a bill to Parliament tomorrow to support more effective management of visa changes. Migration Minister Leon Lee Goldsway said the bill would offer pragmatic solutions. One of the practical challenges is to quickly manage via changes for large numbers of migrants who are unable to leave New Zealand due to the COVID-19 pandemic. He said, keep in mind, this is going on all over the world. There was a Brit in Thailand just last week. He threw his wife out of a 7-story building, and his complaint was he wanted to go home, but his country was on lockdown, as many countries are. So that's why this is going to make news. The bill introduces 8-time limited powers, allowing it to impose, vary, or cancel conditions for classes of temporary visa holders, vary or cancel conditions for classes of residence class visa holders, extend the expiration date of visa classes of people, grant visas to individuals and classes of people in the absence of the application, waive the regulatory requirements for certain classes of applications, waive the requirements to obtain a transit visa, suspend the ability to make applications for visas, submit expressions of interest, and revoke the entry permissions of people who arrive either on private aircraft or marine vessels. Now, the reason this is really important is because they don't even have to see you if they want. They can basically put 12 months automatically on your visa. to extend it so you are safe in the country you're at. You don't have to worry about overstaying it. You don't have to worry about going to jail. You don't have to have that stress. And the reason this made international news is because many countries want want something like that, like Vietnam, where I'm at right now. People want to stay longer, but they couldn't get to the embassies, or the airplanes were not going. So, what do you think about this? Is this a step that's not just for New Zealand, but something that would be good for the world? So, please like, comment, or subscribe below. I would really like to know if this would be something that you think should catch on and other governments should do. Or if you think this is too lax and might pose for illegal immigrations to stay unlawfully. Maybe that's the negative effect of it. Again, like, comment, subscribe below, and leave those thoughts. Moving on to the second article of the day. Superheroes from near and far join in Indonesia's coronavirus battle. And as you see, there's a picture here with Superman, Spider-Man. It looks like some kind of Wonder Woman, which is not. And I don't know who this other guy is, but superheroes are all wearing actual face mask, for the medical mask. So let's hear why they're doing that. Volunteers clad as Superman and Spider-Man sprayed disinfectant against the coronavirus in Indonesia's island of Java, flanking the colleagues wearing the winged helmet of local superhero Gachuga, who shouted, "Wear mask, wash hands, stay alert." The trio handed out masks, containers, and hand sanitizer and bamboo slit drums while demonstrating how to correctly wash hands. Don't don mask and maintain security following reports of the spat of thefts in the residential areas. So people are actually stealing these things. The Southeast Asian nations have reported more than 11,000 virus infections and 845 deaths. Though a sluggish early response to the pandemic and low rates of testing caused medical experts to worry there could be far more cases. Superheroes support the children will definitely obey the orders. The guy who coordinated the event aimed at teaching people to protect themselves. So this whole article wasn't really for adults; it was more for kids, which I thought was pretty interesting. First, washing their hands. Second, not wandering outside and always wearing a mask, added Wakimo, who uses one name. People could use the traditional bamboo slit drums handed out to sound the alarm over robberies or thefts by any criminal who take advantage of measures against the virus, he said. One resident welcomed the effect, saying it would encourage people to change their habits to protect themselves. Usually, it's very difficult to ask the children to wear masks because for them it's a hassle. Yeah, it's probably like some young girls wearing a burqa. They don't like it at first, but then they love it later. In the city of Mascar, the neighboring island of Sawaska, another group of superheroes was walking through the streets to get out the message. Braving traffic by a busy intersection, volunteers dressed as Deadpool, Black Panther, and another grabbed in the red and bold body armor of Indonesian superhero Bama X, held up parcels of red, "Stay home and get well soon, Earth." All right, so what do you think? Do you think this would be a good way to teach children to wear masks? Would this inspire them? Or would this at least educate them? Or do you think this is misusing superheroes? Please like, comment, and leave your opinions below. I'd love to hear from you. Moving on to our third article of the day, and this one really is ethics and an international topic. Hotel evicts healthcare workers as North Samasa government gets behind on bills. So basically, the government is in charge of paying the doctors and nurses, and I guess they were paying the hotel for these nurses to stay. But let's read the article and you'll see what happened. The travel hotel, Kakashima Airport, has asked frontline medical workers to vacate their rooms on Saturday, as the regional government has not paid their hotel bills. The medical workers all got a GI Tabal Hospital in Makosa district in New Delhi, India, and they are being treating the Convoy 19 patients. The incident caught the public eye after Facebook user Jordan Nagaraga uploaded a live stream on the eviction on Saturday. Until today, these medical workers have been working for a month without pay. I wish the President Joko would take action on this matter, he wrote in the caption. Ruba Ramashkasamas, the chairman of the North Samata Indonesian General, who also volunteered as the GI hospital, confirmed that the eviction of the medical workers from the hotel. I was still working that morning when I suddenly got the notification to vacate the hotel room immediately. It confused us, he said. North Sumatra Health Agency held Habaski said that the provincial administration is troubled with the finances and was partly to blame for the incident. As we are experiencing the funding shortage, we have asked medical workers to share rooms, one room for two persons. However, they rejected the idea, so the eviction happened. Well, again, do you think they should have had a shared room? I do think two people can fit in a room even under the virus things, but maybe that's not what they were promised. As we are experiencing funding shortages, we have asked medical workers to share rooms, one person for two people. However, they rejected the idea. So, Ottawa added that the administration had spent nearly 1 billion rupees, $66,000, on the 80 medical workers it had put up in the hotel, excluding transportation and the workers' salaries. Nonetheless, he promised to settle the medical workers' hotel bills on Monday. Earlier on April 9th, Home Minister Tata Kakashan said that the North Smart governor had pledged to triple the region's Convoy 19 budget to 1.5 trillion, which is also included in the stimulus package for the regional economy. On Sunday, the North Smart recorded 123 confirmed cases. Okay, so this was why this really, to me, made an international article. Are any of you? Some of you are furloughed, so you're not working. But are others of you actually working? And but then your employer is telling you they have no money, and if so, for how long? Like in most Asia, you work 1 month before you get paid, or you get paid once a month. So let's say it's 15th of every month. So maybe you start the first, fine, but you won't even get money until 45 days later. So if you start, say, on the 20th, you'll get almost a whole month paid on the following 15th. So should the workers have had money, or what should we do? What should people do to make sure that their staff has a place to stay or the basic needs are met? And is it the government's responsibility to, I don't know, pay, or why were they so out of funds? And so leave your comments below. Does your company act like this? Yes, no, and what would be the appropriate measures to take? I would really appreciate hearing from you. Like, comment, subscribe. Okay, moving on. Just yesterday, I heard Warren Buffett dropped all of his airline stocks. And, okay, no problem. But even before that happened, I always kind of wondered, where are the planes, or what are the planes going to do? As this economy rumbles on, I try to find out, keep track of different industries within the economy and what's going on with them. So this one is about the airplanes. What's happening to the idle airplanes? Alice transformed into aircraft haven. Alice, by the way, is a place in Australia. As the coronavirus, crisis turns cities into ghost towns with quiet streets and empty skies, one of the country's most remote places is thriving. For weeks now, there has been a steady stream of gleaming new arrivals in Alice Springs, from Fokker 100s to A380s, all seeking a temporary home in Australia's dry and dusty red centre. Their destination is Asia Pacific Aircraft Storage, set on 100 Heat Alice Springs Airport. From the being of a plain boneyard where aircraft are broken up for parts and scrapped. So yeah, APAS provides around-the-clock maintenance for the jets until their airline or leasing company owners want them back. So okay, so there are some places where airlines will go for planes that are being retired, and they'll be taken apart for parts to salvage. But in this case, they're being sent there because there's no work for these expensive things. Along Alongside grounded Boeing 737s MAX 8 belongings to Silk Air and Fiji Airways sit four Singapore Airlines A380 and three 777s, four Scott A320s, two Knox Scott 777s, and three Fokkers from Alice Airlines. Their combined worth is estimated to be more than $3 billion, and more planes are on their way as a result of the global health pandemic that forces thousands of aircrafts out to the sky. Now, if you visit the source below, this website has about 10 pictures of all the different from Singapore Airlines. I saw some Via Jets. I saw some North American planes. So airlines from all over the world are actually being parked here in Australia. While WAPS could be seen as a capitalizing on the crisis, managing director Tom Vincent said it is not some overnight success story. The business I set up 10 years ago, we've been quickly working away to gain all the regulatory approval to maintain the aircraft, and a lot of time and capital that has gone into that, he said. Had we not done that, we wouldn't have been able to capitalize on the current situation. We've always built everything so that we can manage a rapid expansion. Now, keep in mind, some airlines, I learned this too by reading every day in the news. If a plane stays at an airport for like one day, the airport generally will charge that plane $1 million just to sit on the runway somewhere. So I'm sure it's a lot less than 1 million a day where they're sitting over here. All right. So had we not done that, we wouldn't have been able to capital. Okay. So Mr. Vincent has expressed to have a dozen storage roads on the site by the end of June, after fast-tracking his planned Stage 2 and 3 expansions. The new infrastructure will provide capacity for up to 100 aircraft, and judging by demand, that will be quickly snapped up. Yeah, probably more than 100 soon. If you're in this, you'll love aviation, and it's dreadful to see the industry hurt so much. But we're here to provide a service, and it's a service that is valued by our customers, and we're happy to support them. So, okay, I'm going to stop there. But what do you think about that? Do you think it's good to have a place, or do you think somebody's profiting off of somebody else's misery? Uh, would this be? Do you like aviation? If so, what would you like to share about it with the readers below? Please like, comment, or subscribe. I'd love to hear from you. Alright. Well, This next article might catch a few eyes. Moviegoers return to theaters. And guess what? This is from Korea, South Korea for that matter. The long weekend, starting with Buddha's birthday on April 30th, seemed to have prompted moviegoers to return to theaters as the coronavirus epidemic shows signs of slowing down. According to the Korean Film Council on Sunday, the daily number of moviegoers for April 30th to May 2nd stood at 70,000 to 100,000. On April 30th alone, 106,000 people visited the theaters, surpassing 100,000 a day for the first time since March 14th. The main attraction was kids' animation Trolls World. Didn't they put Trolls World like on a pay to watch on Disney streaming? I don't have that, so I don't know, but I think I read an article on that. Since opening theaters here on April 29th, it has attracted 46,000 viewers. Movie theaters are dusting off their seats as the country's lockdown rolls and starts a slow return to normal, with dates are being announced of the postponed release of new movies. So this is my question for you. When are your movie theaters open? And how would you feel? I think I heard somewhere that American movies are going to open back up in July. So how would you feel in that case if some places like this is Korea, if they saw many movies before you did? In general, they sometimes see movies 1 week before America does, just because of the way the things are released. But how would you feel, let's say, if Black Panther came out in 2 weeks, so sometime in May, but doesn't come out in America till who knows when, July or beyond? Would you be okay with that? Would you try to pirate it? Or if you're a moviegoer, what movie are you waiting to see? And what are you doing while you are waiting to see a movie? Please like, comment, and subscribe below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm moving on to another very controversial article. This is probably one of the two most controversial articles I have today. And this one is convicted Vietnam child refugee fights deportation after 30 years in Hong Kong. So let's get into this. This will leave you with lots to think about and lots to respond to. Hong Kong. 3 decades after landing in Hong Kong shores, a child refugee, Von Hong, is fighting efforts to deport him to Vietnam now that he has finished a lengthy jail sentence. So he does not want to go back to Hong Kong. Keep that in mind. Vietnam's boat people exodus subsided years ago, but Vo 41 is one of just a handful of the remaining refugees whose fate remains undecided, and his battle against deportation degrades up memories of a grim chapter in Hong Kong's recent history. Since arriving in Hong Kong as a 12-year-old unaccompanied refugee in 1991, Vo has spent his life behind barbed wires and then bars. He was first housed in the notoriously violent refugee camp where tens of thousands of Vietnamese were placed, often for years, until their cases were decided, most of which were eventually asylum into other countries. You know, it's kind of funny. This is one big difference to say between how Hong Kong or even Australia does it. Um, you know, if somebody like will walk into America, they'll go, okay, you're cool. You come back and settle your case 5 years from now, 10 years from now, but they never come back anyway. They just like fade into the shadows. But in other countries, again, Australia, Hong Kong, they kind of put you in these little camps. Greece did the same thing. And they make you wait before they assimilate you into the society. So what do you think on that? Do you think it's that you should wait, or do you think they should fade into the shadows? Leave your comments below on that. I would really like to hear. Let's continue with the story. Boval soon ended up in prison for 22 years after he was convicted as a teenager for murdering a fellow camp inmate during an argument. Since completing his jail term 4 years ago, He has been held at an immigration center pending deportation, move he is fighting in the courts. If they send me back to Vietnam, I would rather be locked up here for the rest of my life, he told AFP. Besides the plexiglass barrier separating inmates and visitors. So why? This is why this is controversial. Why would he hate Vietnam so much that he would rather stay in jail than go back to Vietnam? I I don't know. Vietnam has probably changed a lot since he was there. So do you think he could assimilate if he went back, or do you think he should stay where he is? Let's keep going. This gets better. I have no family and friends in Vietnam. I don't know. I think most Vietnamese are friends with everybody. There are some exceptions there, though. In the years after the Vietnam War ended, some 200,000 Vietnamese arrived in Hong Kong, fleeing poverty and persecution by the victorious communists. Most made desperately dangerous voyages across the South China Sea on crammed and rickety boats, a method that earned the demographic their monkier. By the time the last refugee camps were closed in 2000, some 144,000 Vietnamese were resettled in third countries. 58,000 were repatriated, and just 1,400 were allowed to integrate locally. Wow, so only like I don't know, 2%. Prisoners remain something in the gray area. In 2003, authorities said 15 Vietnamese inmates were eligible to stay in Hong Kong on completion of their sentences, while 18 others would be deported. Vo, who now speaks Cantonese better than Vietnamese, was never told what his status was. So when he walked out of prison in 2016, he expected to be a free man. He got as far as the prison gate. A number of immigration officers waiting with handcuffs with him told me I would be taken to a detention center, he recalled. Now, this is kind of funny because, in America, again, a lot of people will go to court and the judge will say, okay, you lost your case, so you can be deported, or you're an illegal and you went to jail and now you serve your time, but you're still illegal. So usually the immigration will be waiting outside the jail to take you, then process you for deportation. But a lot of places in America, they're kind of looking the other way. They're not telling this agency to come pick these people up. They rather let the illegals walk on the street. What do you think about that? All right, so let's keep going. Two years ago, he won a judicial review against the immigration department's initial decision to deport him. A second immigration hearing is imminent, but it has been delayed by court closures during the coronavirus outbreak. Hong Kong's government declined to comment on Vo's case. The Security Bureau said that there are currently 18 Vietnamese nationals who have been deemed ineligible to receive local resettlement for various reasons, including imprisonment. Maybe if you committed a crime, that's why you can do it. Vo argues he might be subject to political persecution if he was repatriated because his biological father was a South Vietnamese soldier who fled overseas and left him in the care of adoptive parents, who then sent him to Hong Kong. He fears being persecuted a second time for the murder in a refugee camp. Did he really do that, or is that a made-up story? I'd like to know. A lot of illegals will do that in America, they make up stories. Asked about the killing, he reported, "I certainly regret it. I did not know how to behave properly. My only way to protect myself with violence was the only way I knew how to protect myself." The camp on the remote Cape was Whitehead, was roughly a place with violence and rape commonplace. People were fighting for everything, all the time, he replied. Hunger strikes and riots broke out in 1994 and 1996. Wow, all right. were only ended in Hong Kong, then they ruled by Britain. So when so that's when Britain came in, was 94, 96. They sent in the tear gas wielding police via helicopters and armored trucks. Did you guys know that there was a riot back in that time? It almost makes me want to go YouTube search that, since Britain took part in quelling that. Supporters for Vo say he's reformed within prison, learning skills like bookkeeping, hairstyling, and sewing. In the Immigration Detention Center, Vo said he spends his time using Cantonese to help fellow refugees file out paperwork. Von Vo, an ex-convict from former Vietnamese refugee, has been a friend to Vo for nearly 2 decades since they met in prison. Vo has learned to behave after he grew up and studied in prison. Why can't he be given a chance? Vu was given a chance to settle in Hong Kong. Well, Vu was. Vu was given a chance to settle in Hong Kong after his sentence and became a construction worker. Asked about what deportation would mean for Vu, it would be another sentence of life imprisonment. So this goes out to most of my Vietnamese readers. Would you accept this guy back? As after all, he's from your country. Would you like to repatriate him, or would you say you're no longer one of us? Get lost. And what do you think about this story? Does his crime and his stains make him unforgivable, or do you think you could teach him Vietnamese so you can make him a good citizen again? I really would like to know on that. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hey, I did tell you there were 2 controversial articles. This is the second controversial article I found yesterday. And this is in the Melmar News, but this has been over a few different newspapers around the world. 3 men face 15 years in prison after being found with sex dolls. Alright, so this was in Australia. Sydney, Australia. 3 men have been arrested as a result of coordinated operations conducted against the Australian state of South Wales, targeting purchasers like childlike sex dolls. The men each faced a potential 15 years in jail if convicted of possessing one of these dolls under the new Australian Commonwealth offence introduced in September of last year to combat child-free related offences. A multi-agency investigation team comprising of Australian Federal Police, of the Australian Border Force, and the New South Wales Police Force was formed after ABF officers intercepted 3 separate importers of the dolls over the past 2 months. Financial intelligence from ARSTRIC, Australian Transportation Reporters Analysis Centre, final an alliance with supporting from PayPal, was used against identifying the transactions involving the purchases of the dolls. Wow. So, first off, with those of you using PayPal, keep in mind that they will share your information of your purchases with others. That's something to keep in mind. These detained distractions were referred to by AFP, Eastern Command Child Protection Orders teams, to lead the formation of the Joint Investigation Teams. Wow, there's way too many agencies involved in this article. On Thursday, the investigation teams executed search warrants at the 2 homes, one of the Garfield area and the one mid-north coast of one north of Sydney. A 62-year-old man from the Garfield area was arrested at his home, accused of importing childlike sex dolls from China. Police will allege in court that they found the 2 dolls dressed in children's clothing, as well as another children's clothing items at the property. The 62-year-old man was refused bail and appealed in Limestone local court by video link. Okay, so that's cool. They're actually using the video, so he probably doesn't even go to court anymore. He sits in the cell. In a second operation carried out on Thursday, a 42-year-old Sydney man was arrested in his home in a suburb just north of Sydney. After investigation allegedly found a sex doll designed to look like a young child imported from Japan and a second doll inside the property. The man appeared before the court and to get his charges. The detailed forensic examination is being conducted of electronics devices seized from both men's houses. So they're basically seizing their phones and trying to track everything, the process. Meanwhile, a third operation was condemned on Friday morning in the Griffin area. A 37-year-old man was arrested and charged with offenses for possessing a childlike doll, imported prohibiting goods without approval, and possessing child abuse material. He was scheduled to appear in court. Police do not allege any convictions between the three men. All right. Or any connection. The AFP Assistant Commissioner Australian Centre to Counter said that importing and processing childlike sex dolls is illegal, and any discovery of abhorrent items with or objective children is concerning. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I kind of read a lot, and I'm sorry I did, but I kind of got the point out that childlike sex dolls are illegal. It's kind of funny. I don't know if it's childlike or also adult, but Korea passed a law a few years ago, like 2017 or 18, that sex dolls were officially okay in their country. I don't know if it's for child ones though. But this brings me to my next topic, okay? How many years have we heard that God, video games are bad for you. They're gonna make you a violent person. You're gonna play a violent game and go out and beat somebody up, or you're gonna go out and shoot somebody. When in reality, most people that play video games are very chilled, very relaxed. So my question is, why? Why is this illegal? I'm not standing up for these guys or these three guys, but if even if somebody is a child molester, then fine, lock him away. But just because somebody has an adult sex doll or they have a child doll, who cares? It's their private life. And while you might say, okay, this is bad that the guy has it, and I'm glad the police took it, what are the police going to take from you after they say what you have is bad? Because what comes around goes around in that aspect. So leave your comments below on this article. I'm torn between civil rights, about the rights of the privacy and the rights of what they're doing, and the stereotypes they put on people that do things that some people agree with, some don't agree with. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Please like, comment, or subscribe. Hi. The small clip you saw was brought to you by Loyal World News. If you like what you saw, you should subscribe and look up my daily Loyal World News report for its full version. If you don't want to watch it on YouTube, prefer to be on the road, I also have a podcast in every full-length video I put up.